In biz, they used to call this wire vomit. Look at this. Yeah. So this is my Masters of the Universe Elvira mug. It's so good. Oh my God, that's so good. Oh man, delicious. So I just put almond milk eggnog in my pumpkin spice coffee. Dunkin' Donuts pumpkin spice coffee from the Keurig and almond milk eggnog. So delicious. It tastes like an overly expensive drink that you would get from Starbucks. Game changer. It's ridiculously good. It's like Halloween and Christmas mixed together in a hot, delicious beverage. Hey, it's Jay from Sludge Central, and tonight I want to talk about Monster Mania, but before I get into that, I want to follow up on a couple of things. So, you guys are very passionate about the peanut butter and jelly thing that I talked about last show. So, Reese's Peanut Butter Cups are coming out with PB&J cups. So, I thought the jelly was more appropriate, at least for me. That's my thing. I love peanut butter and grape jelly. That's a good mixture. But apparently a lot of people took offense to that because they're real big strawberry people. Not to mention the Canadian friends that I have reached out to me and said, Jay, Canada's big on strawberry jelly. We're strawberry people. So, okay, I didn't know that. Never been to the Great White North, although I love all my friends up there and the nicest people. Love you Canadians out there. Big supporters of you guys. But grape jelly is so much better. And it wasn't only the Canadians, though. I was looking at surveys. There's so many random surveys about jelly that you mix with peanut butter, and strawberry wins. I didn't know that. The only conclusion that I came up with is that I'm just a grape jelly guy in a strawberry world. I want to get into Monster Mania. I have not been to a Monster Mania in so long. So I thought it was about time. There was, of course, a grabber for me, which was Catherine Newton. I wanted to go and meet her. I don't think I would have went. It was so cramped all the time, and I'm claustrophobic, so I don't like to be shoulder to shoulder with everybody and like doing the little shuffle. Like you got to weave in and out of the people. Forget about it if you're trying to look through the bin of the back issues of Famous Monsters magazine, It's crazy. So half the time I would just get angry because I felt like I got to get out of this place, getting a little ants in my pants, so then I'd have to just leave. So I do my walk through the dealer room, which is, it was the same thing every single time. So I just started to get bored. And then they moved it to Oaks, Pennsylvania, which of course I'm not familiar with, as, that's a whole other land. Have no idea about any of that. But I didn't realize it's in an actual expo center. So this expo center made it feel quite different. I just wanted to mention that my drive down there was perfect. So we're in the middle of fall, and I was waiting for some really good fall weather because up here in Jersey it was like 80 some odd degrees the past couple of weeks, and you're wondering, are we going to get any actual fall weather? So going down to Monster Mania, it was a brisk day, kind of overcast, but a perfect fall day. And of course, it might have been in the 50s or 60s, but I was saying it's brisk because I'm always cold now. Back in the day, I was like roasting 24/7. Now I'm like frigid all the time. I'm unsettlingly cold to the touch. And not even like Mr. Freeze level. I'm talking like a walking corpse. Back to Monster Mania. Whoa, whoa. Monster Mania. So I'm driving down. Really perfect fall drive. Got some good music on. Man, nothing better than that. Smooth, no traffic. Just really chilling. Get there, have no problem parking, which for me is one of the huge detractors from Monster Mania. The parking at the Monster Mania Hotel was just the most atrocious thing ever. And you know what I'm talking about if you've gone there. There's just lines, miles long of cars And I don't mind walking. It's just a pain when you're trying to get out of there. So I get into the expo center and I'm immediately struck with this vibe because it's totally different than walking into the Monster Mania hotel. Of course, that had its charms and we all have our memories of that. But when you go into a huge expo center, that's exactly what you want Monster Mania to feel like. This big convention, as if you're going into like a Comic-Con. It definitely feels like it's more on the level of like a Monster Palooza or one of these big cons, you know, wherever in California or Florida. So that was immediately very encouraging to me. And then right away, I started meeting up with people and seeing listeners of the podcast. So that was cool to meet a lot of you awesome people. You must have thought I was an apparition. Is that really Jay? He hasn't been to Monster Mania in years. I assure you, though, it was not a mirage or a hologram, as much as I think that would be cool. It really just felt like a big event. And, you know, if you want to play with the big boys, they just always look more cavernous than Monster Mania did in the hotel rooms, which I just thought, like, oh, talk about cramped, man. This felt big and special and good, and I was really into it. So nice work, Monster Mania. I gotta say, bravo. I'll give you the Meryl Streep point. I did pick up stuff because I haven't gone to a con and just bought stuff in a while, and when I was there I was very impressed by some of these things. I think every show I'm gonna bang into this microphone. Oh, see, I've got this this is the 2019 Blairstown Diner shirt from Blairstown, New Jersey, where they filmed Friday the 13th. Funny story. So this shirt, let me tell you about this shirt. I've been there before, but I went with Matt and we wanted to check it out for like Friday the 13th day or whatnot. So I picked up this shirt. On the back, there's a really low budget sort of drawing of Jason's mask, and it's not really Jason's mask. It's almost like the part 5 cover, more so, where it's not even like the actual Jason mask. But anyway, love this shirt. So just recently I was taking a walk and there was a crossing guard, older guy. He had his yellow, you know, his bright utility yellow vest on, and he's doing his crossing guard duties. He seems real nice, and I'm not one to just start talking to people. You know, that's just not what I do. But he just kind of like looked at me. So I was like, hey, how's everything? Or some shit like that. He starts, you know, going on and on and on. While he's talking, because I'm paying no attention to what he's actually saying, I start looking at his shirt underneath his yellow utility vest. And of course, I interrupt him in his long diatribe of who knows what the hell he's talking about. And I'm like, are you wearing a Blairstown Diner shirt from 2019? And he's like, yeah. He's like, I love that movie, man. I would... I'm not kidding. And he's like, I love, you know, horror movies. And he's like, I love going to Monster Mania. So I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, cool, man. And of course, like at this point, I'm halfway across the street. So I'm like, I can't really talk now because I'm on the other side. That is the most random thing, because there's probably not more than a few hundred at most of this particular year's shirt. I can't imagine that there's even in the thousands. Maybe someone from the Blairstown Diner could tell me. I don't know. But I can't imagine that many got sold that weekend. So good for Crossing Guard, man. You know, the crazy thing was I was about to tell you guys about some of my pickups from Monster Mania, but I just went off on a tangent. So I'm going to show you guys what I got. Man, I keep banging into this damn microphone. So I got this book. So I got my friend's book. I have been wanting to read Clown in a Cornfield for a long time. It feels like, God, I don't know the year it came out, but it feels like it's been out forever, and I've been meaning to read it. So I finally did that. Great cover also. This black light tapestry, I really thought it was well done, because you got this cardboard thing, and it comes in the plastic. It was very old school. So Evil Dead 2, pretty awesome. Love that thing. So this was a great one. Very, very good. Chris Butler Designs. I didn't know Chris, but I had seen his work online. And I'm starting to talk to him, and I'm thinking, this dude's awesome. I like this guy. So I'm looking, he's got amazing artwork. He does the, oh, son of a, I knew that was going to happen. All right, so he makes these posters of horror movies, but they're done in this old school kind of like maybe 40s, 50s Hollywood vibe. So let me show you. I couldn't decide, of course, because there's too many cool ones. Freddy versus Jason. So I thought, of course I wanted part 6 or part 4, but I really thought that Freddy versus Jason really lends itself to this style of poster, I thought. You know, as you could see down here with Monica Keena, it's got the vibes, man. I love that. And then I got Maxine. Look at that. Cool kind of VHS style poster. Love that. Oh man, look at that. The Lost Boys. Perfect. Awesome. If you get a chance to see him at a con, definitely check out his stuff. I'm already telling him I want some commissions, because not commissions like money back. I want to commission him to do some posters for me. I ran into One Man Riot, who I love his artwork. I'm like a huge, huge fan of his stuff. In fact, I would love to just blacklight an entire room and have his stuff everywhere. That'd be awesome. Other thing I did was my meet and greet with Catherine Newton. Pretty stoked about all that. Yeah, so Monster Mania is in the books. Had a really good time, but I have to say I probably wouldn't have gone if it wasn't for Catherine Newton. She really got me to go. So mission accomplished on her part. Huge fan of hers. Love her in everything. Recently watched, for me, was Manhattan Alien Abduction on Netflix. This one is a wild card because I can't necessarily in good conscience tell you to watch it or that you're going to enjoy it necessarily. It's one of these things that becomes more known for, is this a hoax or not, rather than really trying to immerse yourself into the story. I don't think that this should be discounted, because I definitely was immersed in this story. And I also think you have to have some interest in UAPs, UFOs, alien abductions. If you're into that sort of thing, or you think it's a buffoonery, I mean, it might appeal to both crowds. I guess that is where this succeeds. You'll either dig this or hate it, but you won't say that it didn't have some kind of memorable part of it, because you definitely walk away and you're still thinking about it a little bit. I don't regret watching it. You know, I have a feeling many of you might, though, so you just want to be careful. It's based on an actual account of a woman in New York City named Linda in 1989 levitated above her apartment building, and apparently there was a UFO that was basically, sucking her up into the ship. And there was over 20 witnesses who claimed that they saw something in the air that night floating above the apartment. Meanwhile, she goes and meets with a UFO expert who is documenting all of her stories and accounts and is going to turn this into a movie. And his wife is also, documenting and taking video footage and all of this. And she thinks eventually that this is all BS. And she doesn't buy into any of it, and she's trying to disprove Linda. So you have these two different, opinions. This lady says she was abducted and all this stuff is real and aliens were in her apartment, and she's got 20 some odd people saying it happened, including her son, her own flesh and blood. And then you got this other woman, Carol, the documentarian, who is very sort of uptight, we'll say, maybe jealous that Linda was spending all this time with her UFO expert husband. I mean, hey, then you got this guy who loves UFOs and aliens, and he's an expert. And there's a woman who actually had contact with creatures from another planet. What I can say is this. If you used to find, well, if you're old enough and you found yourself watching Hard Copy or A Current Affair with Maury Povich, this will be your jam. That's all I'm going to say. As far as TV goes, I'm also looking forward to Skeleton Crew, the new Star Wars show coming out on Disney+. Really looking forward to that one. I've heard it's like Goonies meets Star Wars. And on the snack front, one thing I noticed is at Baskin-Robbins, they have, and I don't know if this is new or old, but they had a poster for Brie ice cream. And I'm thinking Brie ice cream, okay, cheese. So it's like a cheese ice cream, which is automatically weird. One of these fancy ice cream companies recently put out a mac and cheese ice cream. And I thought that was just, it doesn't work for me. That just is not what I want from an ice cream at all. So the Brie ice cream, I thought to myself, I would buy it if it was Allison Brie ice cream. I would easily buy it. I'm not really a Baskin-Robbins guy. Nothing against Baskin-Robbins. I'm a Carvel loyalist. They're not pulling this stuff where they're coming out with cheese ice cream. The only way I would buy a cheese ice cream is if they did a Munster ice cream, like Munster cheese, and it was in theme of the Munsters. Imagine if they went even weirder. So we know how Burger King used the Addams Family animated movie to make their Wednesday Whopper and all the, all things, rings and all that stuff. Well, what about if they actually used Rob Zombie's Munsters? That would be perfect and random, and no one's expecting it because you figure, oh, they're just going to do the classic Munsters. But no, Rob Zombie's the Munsters, and I'm all in. That's my jam. If that happens, forget about it. Forget about it. Yeah, temps drop down to the 30s here, so let's talk about ice cream. Thanks for hanging out with me here at Sludge Central. I am Jay, signing off.